So it's been a hot minute since we've had any Starfield news. It's been dead quiet and Shattered Space didn't really shatter expectations. In fact, Bethesda decided that they were going to give the community what they wanted, a curated planet to do the expansion. And well, it turns out that the community doesn't always know what they want, because after Bethesda gave the community what they wanted, it didn't really set the world on fire. In fact, the expansion was pretty decent. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I 100%ed it. But the reality is, a lot of people felt that they were constrained, limited by the single planet, and it kind of took away from what Starfield is, which is mass planet exploration. By going from planet to seeing different things, to different environments, to different facilities, that is what brings Starfield together, that act of exploration. And with Shattered Space, that was kind of taken away. So Bethesda have decided, at least I hope they've decided, that they're gonna not listen to the community on that regard, because clearly the community wants something but don't really know what they want to the fullest extent. But they can look at the feedback. And so Tim Lamb has teased with some upcoming content for Starfield, and as you can see on screen right now, features that players have been asking for. Now, one of these features I really hope is going to be multiplayer, or at least co-op. I mean, multiplayer probably is going to be really difficult, but a co-op experience would be awesome. This would get more people playing, I guarantee it. It's one of the features that I really wanted to go space, flying with my friend or or maybe we can have like a little crew. If they could do it like maybe 4 or 5 multiplayer, that'd be even better. We can get like a Starborn crew and go to town to different planets and just experience Starfield in a whole new way. But as well as this, we want better quality of life features like crafting. There's so many little bits and tools in around Starfield that are completely pointless, yet your brain just has picked them up, and the incumbent system is a real pain. And though you can make it really lenient at the expense of XP, mods also fix that problem out so you can have indefinite storage. It does become a problem when you're sorting stuff out. So being able to break these down into raw materials when you pick them up would be really cool, or just have them instantly, the useless stuff, break into raw materials. That would be really, really cool, or at least have the option to. Anyway, they also said part of the team has been focused on space gameplay to make the travels there more rewarding. So more battles maybe this could mean, or better transitions in and out of space. I'm not really sure what they're talking about this, but more rewarding, I'm not assuming they're talking about prize, but just a better satisfied execution of what we're getting. We're also adding new game systems, and this is really big because, this is going to be additive to what we already have. I have no idea what Bethesda could be talking about here, and they've said, and a few other small delights. Now, there is a number of things that I would like them to address, and it's not difficult. Now, I understand how Starfield works. I understand how the system works. In fact, the way the whole seed system works is pretty cool, but obviously it does create a problem in itself. Now, for example, you're saying, well, what is this seed system? Essentially, you could have a little square, but that is a seed, right? That's the technical term for it. When you go into that building of that one seed can regenerate that room 50 times the size, because it's not a seamless in and out entry. So it kind of auto generates it. Although some of these ones are predefined, like the caves, for example, are all seeds. You can't actually see, you kind of go into the cave and then it loads that seed. Now, what you can do during these situations is add like a transition loading scene. Now, if any of you have recently played Death Stranding 2, I'm assuming Death Stranding 1 was exactly the same. When you go back to your private room, when Norman Reedus or Sam is sitting there, if he goes to eat something, that's actually just a cutscene. You can skip it instantly. If he goes to drink, it's a cutscene. You can skip it instantly. If it goes to shower, you can skip it instantly. All of these are cutscenes. When it gets into the lift to get onto the surface, it's a cutscene. When the screen pans around, I mean, there's probably about 8 or 9 cutscenes there that are all skippable. But what they can do is do that in a non-skippable way, but make it a transition. So instead of them actually showing a loading screen where they don't need to, it can kind of transition in, and during that transition, the seed is loading. And I think that would be a really, really cool feature. That would make it more seamless and get the loading away. One of the biggest problems with Starfield and a lot of the complaints is the loading screens. There can be a lot of them if you are going from point A, instance to instance to instance, but you can transition that. Now, planet entry and departure is another thing. Again, when you're coming into the planet, it kind of goes into a loading screen, and then you get this cutscene that comes in. But they can do what Star Wars Outlaws did, where they have that whole cloud system when you're coming in, and that is essentially loading. Destiny has done this for years, where if you're going into a lost sector, that lost sector hasn't fully loaded. In fact, when you're going through that corridor, that long corridor, to actually get to the actual lost sector, that is your loading screen. That is where all the loading is actually happening in order for the instance to be ready for when you get there. That's exactly what Outlaws did. They have that cloud system there when you're going into the planet and can't really do anything. You're not fighting anything. It's just there. But it doesn't break immersion. And everything kind of loads at that point. And once you see the planet, at that point, it can get into autopilot cutscene like it does with Outlaws and then land on the planet. And when it's taking away, it can do exactly the same thing where it's going to take off in that cutscene like it normally does, and then when you're kind of in the clouds and it finally loads out of space, it places you where you are, and then you can do what you want to do. All of this is really cool stuff that they can do, and make the experience that bit more better. The quality of life features that they can add will generally improve, but it's really cool that they are still working on this. I don't expect to see this update landing before the big update landing before. Now, there are talks that an expansion is coming, and they have said they have like a 5-year plan for expansions. So we do expect an expansion. We was expecting one this year, but it looks like they may be missing that unless they come out with something very soon. But it looks like they're going to hold off that expansion until the PS5 release, which is more or less, in my opinion, what is happening. But, we could all be surprised, and they could announce it at the Tokyo Game Show and say, hey, next month we're dropping this update, be ready. I'd be happier, and I'd be really happy to just be able to jump back into Starfield and do more content. I mean, I'm still playing Starfield on and off. It is a really good game. There's nothing wrong with it. The loading screens are a bit annoying, I'll admit, because at times you could be cutting into loading screen after loading screen. But again, this is something that I experienced with Death Stranding as well. And the way Death Stranding handled it was just so much better, because it didn't feel like a loading screen. It just felt like a really nice, smooth transition. And I think that's what Starfield needs. Obviously, we could have some crossovers as well with Starfield. Maybe a Halo crossover would be really, really nice. They've done it with Helldivers. There's kind of no reason why we can't just go to another solar system and magically find ourselves where the grunts are or something like that, and make contact with an ODST team or a Master Chief team or whatever. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But this news is really cool. Starfield is a really good game. It's a great game. But there are improvements that can be had, especially in just the transitioning, the loading, the way the game, takes you from point A to point B. Some of the quests don't feel as fleshed out as they can be. They need more memorable quests. I mean, everyone kind of remembers the one where you go and get that armor suit. It's been a long time since I've done it, but I know what the quest is. You get the ship as well from that Pirate's Bay. Everyone remembers a certain quest. You need more of those memorable quests to be put in. I know there's the Trackers one, but from what I've read and what I've heard, it doesn't really pay off at the end of the Trackers Alliance quest, and you kind of wanted that payoff and wanted them to peel off from there. I do know that there are lots of, mods that expand the game greatly, and the mods are doing, God's work at the moment in providing additional content, additional missions, additional quests, additional gear, and everything else, and that's awesome. But we want some of this coming from Bethesda themselves as well to be officially in the game. We don't, the mods are fine. And if they're happy to have those mods officially, integrated into the game, and they can make some deal with the creator of the mods, that's great. But I think at some point, you know, they need to put some of this in that's, you know, gonna be in the base game. Like, there's a lot of quality of life features that mods just make the game so much better. Weather system, there's loads, right? I think they can start looking at some of those and incorporating that into the game. If the modders can do it, so can the team at Bethesda. And so I'm hoping that when they say a few other smaller delights or game systems, this is the type of things that they're talking about. But let me know what you think. 2026 is apparently the date touted for the next big expansion. I think that's quite a bit away, and I really would like at least an interim update for Starfield this year, even if it is towards the end of the year, for them to have something for the Starfield fans. But hey, well, time will tell. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I'll see you in the next one. This is really good news, though. The fact that they've come out and teased, you know, Tim Lam has come out and teased upcoming content for Starfield, you know, features that players have been asking for. Part of the team has been focused on space gameplay to make the travels there more rewarding. So I'm hoping part of that is like the transition stuff, new gaming systems they're adding, and other small delights. This can only be a good thing. It means that work is still full speed ahead on Starfield and the expansion. And I do hope the next expansion isn't solely focused on one planet. Despite the fact that I did enjoy Shattered Space, I do think that they can make it true to what Starfield is, and that is exploration. And that is what I loved about this game. And I really hope they go back to the roots of what made Starfield Starfield, and the next expansion can build on that, and they can build upon the game with that. All right, folks, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and remain legend.